Is Uber and Lyft and rideshare driving, is that a race to the bottom? Hi, my name's Levi, and this is the Tip You in the App Daily Drive. Today's Daily Drive is brought to you by Tonquin. With Tonquin, you deliver car parts instead of delivering people. Tonquin's great, and it works just like any other gig app. Check out Tonquin today. The Daily Drive is also brought to you by Rideshare.tax. 2024 tax season is basically over, but you can start prepping for 2025 today. Reach out to the team at Rideshare.tax and let them know that Levi from Tip You in the App sent you for your 10% discount. And the Daily Drive is also sponsored by Voom Rideshare Insurance. First, the news. All right, the New York Post reports an article by Tina Moore, April 13th. She says, teens assault, attempt to rob Uber driver at gunpoint while filming attack. A group of teens attacked an Uber driver while filming him, breaking his nose and gashing his head. The brazen teens, who appear to be between 11 and 17 years old, recorded the Brooklyn beatdown with a cell phone, said the driver, who asked not to be identified because he fears retribution. One was punching me and the other one had a gun, said the victim. He said, "Give me everything. Give me all the money." And here's a picture of our driver, obviously just really beat down. The driver arrived on Alabama Avenue in East Flatbush to pick up the female fare named Precious around 7 p.m. on Sunday and noticed a group of teens across the street. He said he asked if they knew who his fare was, and they said no, he recalled. I don't know why he even would reach out to them, but whatever. When he turned his head to look for his client, he was suddenly punched in the face through his open window. I didn't see them. It was a surprise punch. And there's, it looks like a picture of our perpetrators. Here's a gash in his head. He got out of his car to fight back and noticed one of them was filming, said the victim. At that point, the brawl broke out and he ended up on the ground, where one of the punks hit him in the head with a scooter, he said. The attackers scattered after the neighbor came out and called 911. The neighbor also found the phone the kids used and saw the video of the victim on the device. Three things. Number one is obviously what we do is dangerous. I'm going to keep talking about it as much as possible. But two things stood out to me that this driver did. Number one is he rolled his window down and asked if they knew who his fare was. I don't know why he would just ask random people on the street who his fare was. No, they may have known. They may have been the people that ordered the Uber, but again, it's a dangerous neighborhood, probably. Two young men approached the car. I would definitely not have rolled my window down. So that's why he ended up getting punched with his window rolled down. The second thing was probably his worst mistake is he got out of his car to fight back. And I thought to myself, like, I would never get out of my car. Like, your car is your one major weapon. Keep your windows rolled up. Talk to people through a crack in the window. Keep your doors locked. And never, ever get out of your car to fight back. It's just, even if you win the fight, you're still going to get, you're going to go to jail maybe, or you're going to lose your job as an Uber driver. Just drive away. Cancel the trip. There's no trip, no fare worth your life. All right. So is driving for Uber or Lyft or just basically any ride share, is it a race to the bottom? Is it basically this idea of like the cheapest car, the cheapest driver, the cheapest fare? Lynn Sherman sent this to me through Twitter. He says that in late 2022, Uber replaced minimum pay for all trips that it guaranteed all drivers for 10 plus years, a base minimum fare with rate cards with the lowest pay that any driver would accept for any trip. Truly great for Uber, but for drivers, not so much. Is it a race to the bottom for driver pay? And he sent this picture of a quote from Dara, the CEO over at Uber. It says, "I think that we are doing better actually targeting different trips to different drivers based upon their preferences, based upon behavioral patterns that they are showing us. That really is the focus going forward, offering the right trip at the right price to the right driver, which is a win-win-win for the rider. Wait time is lower. Drivers are seeing the trips that they want at the price, and the network gets more and more efficient. And I would also say that the nature of upfront fares, you've gone from a flat time and distance now to kind of a point estimates for every single trip based upon the driver. It accrues to players who have the right kind of data skills and the amount of data that we have. The key word in that whole thing to me is efficient. If you're familiar with economics, that's what markets and economics is all about, efficiency. Uber does not want to pay drivers more. Quite frankly, neither do the passengers. Think about it from your own self as a driver. Would you like to pay more at a restaurant to ensure the cooks make more? Probably not. We all are in a race to the bottom. But I don't think that's really what Lynn is necessarily getting at with this question. Yes, it is a race to the bottom. But I think what he's really talking about, at least the way I interpreted it, is it hurting drivers? So I went back and looked at some data, and I thought I'd share all this data with you. All right, so as you know, I collect a ton of data. This is, again, a spreadsheet that's available to everybody if you want to take a look at it. But it's all of my weekly data, to how many hours I've worked, how many trips I've taken, all the data that is basically readily acceptable. I don't track it per trip. I just track it per week. And I have some trends, right? So I know what I've done in 2020 to 2024, and even over the last 12 months, a lot of good data. So I wanted to kind of recreate some of this data. The first thing I did is I just went back and looked at a lot of my weekly statements and activities, and I tried to find like fares. And what I found is if I go back and look at the minimum fare, I'm able to kind of see some key data points. So let's take a look at it. Here's a minimum fare trip for $3.66 back in 2020, February 23rd, 2020. And you can see it's a 5-minute trip, 1.7 miles, and I can look at how much I was paid. And it was really interesting. Number one is I didn't realize they were paying me for the pickup miles, which is really important, but it's only 41 cents per mile. And the time was 15 cents per minute. Here's the customer price. Here's what was paid to Uber, the service fee. And so I have that data. I also have a trip in January of 2021 for $3.66, 2 minutes. Again, 41 cents per mile, 15 cents per minute. The customer paid $8. Minimum fare in 2022 actually increased to $4.18. And the reason why I know it's the minimum fare is because you see there's these minimum fare supplements. But again, the mileage rate's still 41 cents and the time is 15 cents per minute. Customer price was $8.04 for this one. Minimum fare, again, $4.29. But again, the only reason why I know it's a minimum fare here is because that's the lowest fare I could find at roughly the same time in miles. The customer price is now $8.97. And here's one more minimum fare for $4.11. Key thing here, and this is important to this entire analysis, this promotion for $1. And you're going to see this is key to everything. Customer paid almost $10 and the Uber service fee. So again, I have all this data. One thing to note is what would be, this is the CPI inflation calculator over at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. If I were to get $3.66 in January of 2020, what would it be like in January of 2024? If I calculate that, they say the buying power should be $4.38. So you'd think my minimum fare using inflation would be $4.38. All right, so let's put that data from those trips into a spreadsheet. And you can see here 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. And it says January trips. I think a couple were in early February, but it's basically the beginning of the year through, now. Each one was roughly, right around 5 minutes, somewhere a little bit shorter, roughly around a mile, give or take. Here's the price. Look at the customer price, $7.75, $8.78. So it went. $8.04, $8.97, and now it's almost $10 for the customer price. Here's the Uber service fee, which is Uber's profitability or margin. $1.2022. Like I said, $1.20, $1.22, $1.83 is where it's at now. The booking fee, it basically stayed the same. Kind of dropped a little bit here, which is interesting. Not sure why, but that's where the commercial insurance and some of those other fees exist. TNC is the New York tax, and of course it goes up. Black Car Fund is another New York tax, 18 cents all the way up to 26. And you can see it kind of capped out here. So here's Uber's take from $4 up to $4.87. This year was odd, at kind of an anomaly at $5.12. Here's the base fare for me, 78 cents. And this is what Lynn was talking about somewhere in mid 2022. It shifted over to a flat rate, and you see I got $4.29. And this is key. I got $4.11 just this year as a minimum fare. So it went up, or went down, excuse me. Here's the time and distance minimum fare supplement to get us up to the minimum fare. So my minimum fare in my market went from $3.66, $4.18, $4.29, and now it's $4.11. And remember, the CPI calculator said $4.38 is where it should be. Now, I do get an EV promotion, which just ended, right? The $1 per trip. That brought me up to $5.11, which means I wonder if like Uber is hiding the data, right? They're skimming. They probably are. So again, my minimum fare, $3.66 up to $4.11. Now take a look at an annual analysis. So the customer price went from $7.75 to $9.98, so a 29% increase. The service fee ended up being a 50% increase from 2024 to 2020. My fare only went up 12%. So again, the price went up 29%. My take of the fare is 12%, and the service fee is 50%. However, this is a really important set of data here. Let me show you this. Let me just enlarge this a little bit here. This line right here, my hourly income, how much I make per online hour has increased from $25.92 up to this year, I'm making $40.72 for being online. So a 57% increase, which if you were to look at it per trip, my minimum trip, at least Uber's take and all of that, it's changing. It's going down, but I'm making more money. And there's a couple of reasons why. Number one is I'm taking more trips per hour. Another thing is I'm getting definitely more tips per hour. My tips in 2020 were $2.92 per hour. And now I'm making $4.77 per hour. And look at my promo. I used to make $4.67 in promotions in 2020. And now in 2024, I'm averaging $4.77. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. $4.67 in promotions in 2020. And in 2024, I'm making $10.10 for promotions. What does that mean? I have increased my hourly income a couple of different ways. I'm focusing more on short trips and getting tips. The number two thing is I'm maxing out my promotions. The reason why I'm getting a promotion of $10.10 per hour is because this year I bought a Tesla. I got the $2,000 bonus, from being a diamond driver. I'm doing everything I can to maximize my promotions. Well, I got a $2,000 promotion for buying a Tesla. I got a promotion for being a diamond driver. And if I get a weekly promotion, they're small, I'm still going for them. So my promotions per hour have increased. My fare has also gone up per hour. Again, I'm taking shorter trips. I'm maximizing how much I can make in a short time. And another reason why my fare per hour has gone up is because I've shifted when I drive. In 2020, I was driving almost like the middle of the day. It was like when the fares were the least. Or now in 2024, I'm driving pretty late at night. I'm trying to maximize my reservations. I'm doing everything I can to make more money. All that to being said is, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at it in a chart. Here you go. So again, Uber has increased 50% from 122 to 183. The customer price has gone up 29% on those fares. And my take, right, has increased by 12%. But if I include my EV $1 per fare EV bonus, it's actually increased by 40%. I think this is the better way to look at it. I think if I look at it on a per trip basis, yeah, it's true. It's a race to the bottom. All right, let's relook at what Dar says. He says it's a win-win-win for the rider. Wait time is lower, efficiency, right? Drivers are seeing the trips that they want at the right price. Again, that's what's happening to me. And the network gets more and more efficient, which is true. So my per trip numbers on the fare are down, and that's a risk, right? It's not what, or maybe down compared to inflation. However, I have learned as a driver to maximize my earnings. And I think there's a real key thing here. It says it accrues to the players who have the right kind of data skills and the amount of data that we have. And I think he's referring to himself that he has data and Uber uses that data to maximize their profitability. Well, you have data as a driver to also maximize your profitability. Just got to learn to collect that data and analyze that data. So is it a race to the bottom? Yes. Yes, it is. Would Uber and or the passenger like to pay you zero? Yes, they would. You also would like to get goods and services cheaper for you too. It's harder for drivers, no doubt about it. And it may seem unfair. And that is also, I feel that way too when I see that my base fare is also being reduced, right, from 2023 to 2024. All I can say is if you want to be a rideshare driver, Uber and Lyft have decided that's the game that they want to play. They want to find a way to use an algorithm to find ways to pay you less. And if you want to do this job, for whatever reason, the flexibility, the freedom, the meeting passengers, whatever it is, whatever you like about the gig, that's the game that's being set up. You as a driver are an independent contractor and you can choose to play the game or not. There are opportunities for you to get commercial insurance and become a private driver. There's other apps out there that probably are more driver oriented. Uber, specifically in this case, is trying to maximize efficiency. They're trying to definitely get a race to the bottom. I feel 2024 is my peak earning years with Uber too, by the way. I do feel next year, 2025, I'll be making less, especially considering inflation. I have maxed out whatever I can in terms of promotions, and I've maxed out how many trips I can take from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. It's going to be hard. I think basically since they took away that EV bonus, it's going to be less and less for me. And I too have that choice. Do I want to continue to do this in this race to the bottom? I'm only encouraging you to not be offended by it. You're not guaranteed an income. I don't think it's right necessarily for Uber and Lyft from even a business model to basically get cheaper cars out there with worse drivers. I think a little bit better pay and keeping professional drivers like you and me out there on the road is going to help their business model, right? If every driver is driving a beater and they're all about 21 years old or whatever, and they're just racing around and they don't clean their car, they're unsafe. Uber's insurance and Lyft's insurance is going to continue to increase. So their costs are going to go up and it's going to go away kind of the way that like DoorDash is basically holding on by a very thin thread because their fares are so low. Very few people want to do it. And DoorDash only exists in a profitable sense in maybe a few major areas. So it's the game. Is it something that we can manage? We can try to learn to analyze your data. That's my only recommendation here. You have data. You can go back in time and look at all of your data and analyze it. Do what you can. Get an efficient car. They're paying people to drive EVs. Get an EV. They're rewarding diamond drivers. Maybe it's okay for you to become a diamond driver. Again, you have to know your market, your car, your city, the people that you're driving, and your needs to know exactly how to maximize your own efficiency. I know it's kind of a little bit of a tough love kind of thing. I'm not saying Uber is morally right. I'm also agreeing that, yeah, it is a race to the bottom, and 2024 may be max earnings for all of us. At least it might be for me. I wish you the best. Please be safe. Go out there and earn as much money as you can, and enjoy the gig. Be well. Bye.